Your child needs these 5 executive functioning skills to really make it through their day. There are 11, but the 5 that we're going to dive into today are the ones that really pack a punch and help your child get through their day from morning, noon, all the way to their evening routine with the most peace and the less stress possible. I'm going to say what a lot of people don't tell you. The real problem when you are trying to help your child with executive functioning skills is that people are really trying to look at random tips, tricks, a timer, a list, using the agenda. But the real problem with that is that unless we're looking specifically at an executive functioning skills, what the executive functioning skill can do for us, it's really hard to get these random strategies to work. So come with me and we're going to dive right into the 5 executive functioning skills that can really help your child get through their day. You probably already have a hint that your child is struggling with some executive functioning skills, right? Whether it's attention, task initiation, you're not really sure which one, but you know the umbrella of executive functioning skills can help your child. But the real question I want you to ask yourself is which of these 11 executive functioning skills is going to be the one that I need to support my child with. By the end of this video, I'm going to dive into 5 of the most common executive functioning skills that I see kids struggle with. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is, as I'm going through the 5 skills, see which one relates to your child and this specific situation that's happening. My goal for you is to have at least one strategy that you can implement today. First one is we're going to dive right into working memory. Working memory is the ability for your child to remember something, store it, and then pull it out when they need it. Similar to what they need for like a spelling test, math test, similar to what they need when they have to do an activity that has anywhere from 3 to 5 steps, let's say, and they only make it through the first couple ones, and then they either get distracted or forget what the rest of the steps were. When working memory is a struggle, your child will literally stop mid-activity and really forget what they're doing. But it may look like to you that they have just found something better to do, when if we dig a little deeper and we start learning about the different executive functioning skills, we're going to be like, oh, it wasn't that they were distracted, they just kind of forgot what the rest of the activity was. So my number one strategy for working memory is chunking it down. So we're going to take a multi-step activity and we're going to break it down to, let's say, 1 step at a time. This is not that we're lowering our expectations or saying, oh, they just can't do it. It's actually quite the opposite. We are training their brain to get an instruction, remember the instruction, and complete the instruction. So then the next time, maybe they can remember 2 parts of the activity, right? So the flaw that most of us fall into is, well, they need to figure it out. My friends, in the case of executive functioning skills, the best way is to pull it back and have them start building the skill 1 step at a time. So in the case of working memory, I'm going to invite you to use chunking so that you can break a 5-step activity into maybe 1 or 2 steps. Common mistake I find here is that we still expect too much in the beginning. So if you're doubting between how many steps, go to the lesser amount of steps. All right, the second skill that I see that most kids really need to get through their day is flexibility, right? My kids that I work with that have a big challenge with flexibility, really, they end up being so upset. So any change in their plan, anything that goes unexpected really just throws their whole emotions off and they really have a hard time recovering. So flexibility is not caring that your plans change. You know, if we have something we're looking forward to, we're all gonna be, you're like, oh, you know, that was a bummer. But it's a very big difference from, oh man, I was looking forward to that, to like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. And then we really can't recover for that. So that's when we're talking about executive functioning struggles with flexibility. We are looking at our kiddos that maybe can't recover from a change of plans, or it takes them a really long time to recover from a change of plans. Or they may need a lot of support in order to recover from the change of plans. So my strategy for flexibility is preview the day, preview the activity, preview the week, And while you're previewing, we are going to introduce a backup plan, right? Let's say they're going to go to the park and they're going to bring a soccer ball because they want to play soccer. Well, the backup plan might be there might not be anybody there to play soccer with. And help your child be part of the solution. Well, I guess I can go on the playground, or I guess I can climb a tree. Another option is they might get to the playground and there are kids to play soccer with, but the kids don't want to play soccer. They want to do whatever, something else. So having this backup plan time is a magical way to get our kids that struggle with flexibility to start seeing that there are other options out there. Skill number 3 that I really want our kiddos to have to make it easy for them to get through their day is response inhibition. This one is basically self-control. Inhibiting your responses to want to touch, to want to speak, to want to move. Those are things that our kiddos have to go through the whole day trying to control them, and they really are difficult for some of our kids. Actually, let me know in the comments below if you've ever had an experience where you did something and you were like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's happened to all of us, but our kids that struggle with response inhibition, this happens to them all day long. The go-to strategy I want you to walk away with for response inhibition is I want you to teach your kids about pausing. So pausing looks like we're gonna answer a question and be like, oh, I'm gonna pause before I answer. So just modeling what this pausing would look like is a great way for them to see how you use it, and then little by little they can start implementing it in their own day. Skill number 4 that it's gonna make easy for your kiddo to get through their day is the very popular organization, right? Organization, the real benefit of organization is not that you have your stuff and that it looks nice, it's that it brings peace into your everyday activities. Organization causes so much chaos and anxiety and stress to people that struggle with it that once they're looking at the real benefit, which is imagine being able to get out the door without having to look for things, ask questions, where's my this, where's my that, or worse, when they get to wherever they're going and they forgot one soccer cleat, or you forgot the charger for your laptop. Super stressful. So a great strategy that we can implement right now is a zone, right? So a zone can be a check-in, check-out zone in the entrance of your house. It can be in their room. Sometimes this checkout zone can be a box, a holding box where they put all the things until they have a minute to put them where they belong. Sometimes the zone looks like a piece of tape on the floor where the red tape is where I'm going to put my school stuff. The other tape is where I'm going to put my orchestra instruments. That is a real life example from one of the families I've worked with, by the way. You can get as creative here as you have the bandwidth for, but remember, a box is a great zone. A piece of painter's tape on the floor is also a great way to introduce zones to keep track of all the things. Number 5 is task initiation. Imagine being able to get started on any task that you have to do is definitely going to make the day easier. When kids struggle with task initiation, it looks a lot like distraction. It can look a lot like defiance. It can look a lot like laziness. But I want you to forget about all those labels and just look at your kiddo through the lens of executive functioning. And when we know that task initiation is this inability or the struggle to start a task, all of a sudden we can remove the labels and come up with some solutions for how we can help our child get the momentum to get started with the task. So one quick strategy is in what you say. Right? So changing your language to be very specific and explicit is a great way to get kids to get started with the activity. So for example, get started with your homework. Clean up your room. Get your stuff ready for tomorrow. Those tasks could have quite a few steps in them and could have a lot of ways you can tackle this one activity. So if we change the language on that to get your after school supplies ready by the door, assuming they only have one activity in the afternoon. Instead of cleaning your room, we can say, I need you to pick 3 items up off the floor. Or you can say, take all the items off the floor and put them where they belong. That's very different than attacking the whole room. And the good part about this is not only are they able to tackle the task and get started with it, but they're also learning that they can get the hard things done. As your kid's starting to get through their day, using their executive functioning skills, and we're trying to support them, I want to make sure that you don't make the most common mistakes. In my next video, I'm going to break down the most common mistakes that I see every day so I can prevent you from making them, and you can really make a big difference in your child's executive functioning skills. So go ahead and click on my next video, 3 mistakes that parents make while trying to support their child's executive functioning skills.